Okay, Phil Lindsay here with Peep magazine. We're here with the man, Steve Wraith, ahead of his Relentless Promotions show, Friday fight night. Tomorrow night we're here at the weigh-in. Steve, I understand you're going to be busy and getting there later on in the night tomorrow. You've got Danny obviously holding the reins, so to speak. How's preparation gone in general, and how much are you looking forward to the night in general?
It's been good preparation. It's been, relatively stress-free. Touch wood. It's a smaller show. It's a dinner show. The ticket sales have gone quite well for the dinner aspect of it, and it's, I think people are in for a really good night. I mean, we've discussed, and I heard Danny's interview, a week or so ago. He was right what he said. We've got four cracking fights. You've obviously got Jeff Saunders topping the bill. Yeah. We all know. He had a fantastic start to his pro career. He'd be looking to continue that, and having met his opponent today,
looks a good nick, doesn't he?
Very good nick. Hit the weight no problem, and he's got a very similar record to Jeff, identical record. They've almost had identical careers in different countries, so it is a tough test. And I do know Jeff Saunders Senior is very very wise, very clever as far as picking opponents for his sons are concerned. Yeah. But he's happy with the test. He thinks it's going to be a test, and let's see how good Jeff is tomorrow night. I think with the other fights on the bill, obviously the other standout one is the Tyne-Tees Derby.
Absolutely.
Hopefully a prelude to Newcastle playing Middlesbrough in the Premier League next season.
Or the Championship.
Or the Championship. I look on the bright side, Phil. It's one of those situations where it's quite unique. You've got Sam Best from Newcastle, Steve Cooper from Middlesbrough, Darlington area. Yeah. But you've got a fantastic opportunity for one of those fighters to make a real name for themselves early on. And I take my hat off to them.
Yeah, there you go.
To actually put their rose on the line so early.
It's like Tom Whitfield and Dan Cope a couple of months ago. They did that. They had a fantastic fight. It was the fight of the show, and I do expect this one.
More and more fighters now. And I mean, conversation I had with Phil Jeffries a few months back about people putting their rose on the line, and he's beating the drum about making these good northeast derbies and making these fights count. And fair play to the fighters for going in so early and giving up their rose.
I think there's more depth there. There's more fighters now, so they've got more options of who to take on and things.
I think it's great, and I think you're right. I think it will be the fight of the night. I think they'll both give it their all, and rightly so. I think good luck to the pair of them. Could I call a winner? I don't think I could. I know they both got their strengths and they both got their weaknesses, and one of them will get found out tomorrow night. But I'm sure it'll be a good fight. The other two fights, of course, the two fighters don't need any introduction. Great to see Lewis Scott back in the ring. Very, very pleased because
he's got a different focus to him now as well. I noticed in the last interview with him and just talking to him, he seems a lot more focused and grounded than he was, 6 months ago.
I don't think changing management, time and time again helps anybody. It doesn't matter what job you do, and I think that's probably been a little bit of an issue, and I'm not saying that anybody's been right or wrong in that. I'm just saying that it can unsettle people, and stability is a key, and hopefully he's found stability with Fighting Chance, and his family are still all involved, which is great. Ronnie's the trainer, and I'm sure Ronnie will do a fantastic job. If anybody can get the best out of Lewis Scott, it'll be Ronnie Rowan Fighting Chance, and I think we will see a different Lewis Scott. I think we'll see a new improved Lewis Scott, and I think he'll do really well. Just got to hope his shoulder stands up. That's the big test. I'm sure it might be in his mind. It'll certainly be in everybody else's mind around him. But as long as the shoulder holds up, I think there'll be no issues, and I think Lewis will go on to have a great career. And then Bazzi Razak, great to see Bazzi, back in the ring. He will be looking to pick up from getting that, the draw on the last out. And I know he was disappointed about it. Everybody likes to have an unbeaten record with win, which he still has. Which he has. But it's a draw. At the end of the day,
it's lessons learned without a loss.
Of course it is, and it doesn't make him a worse fighter. I think he'll come back from that. He'll bounce back from it. At least it wasn't a defeat. And I think the Asian sensation is still very much in the fight game up here. And Mark will be looking to step him up. We've had talks about getting him out on the 24th of July, which will be our next show in Gateshead with Fighting Chance. And we're already talking about possible 6th rounder for Bazzi on that. Maybe it's a little bit later, but it's all good. It's all positive.
Going in the right direction.
It's going in the right direction. Would I like to have more fights on tomorrow night? Yeah, I would, definitely. But then we're doing a dinner show format. We've got to have a little bit of entertainment on as well. And as I say, it shows we've got a little bit of a different string to our bow. It'll create a different atmosphere, a different ambience. And some of the people have bought tables off the back of the fact that there is a bit of a break from the boxing and there is a bit of entertainment on as well. So it's all good, It's all positive, and I'm sure we'll have more big announcements coming up over the next few months once we know what Matchroom and Sky Sports' next move is as well.
Well, what you've also got, obviously, you've got 4 fights on, but it looks like 4 quality fights.
Yeah.
And what you often get with a lot of the fans is once their man is actually fought, they sometimes leave anyway, where we're just having the 4 fights on there. The likelihood is everybody that attends will watch all of the fights as well.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think the Lancastrian Street almost lends itself to that as well. I mean, the only unfortunate part about the Lancastrian Street is you can't drink in the main room. I'm sure we could probably get that overturned at some point, but I think there's always that nervousness around that venue after the riot that happened a few years back, and there's always that feeling that if you don't want to be the promoter that brings that particular day back, So we've heard
you
on the side.
tread carefully, don't you?
We've heard on the side of caution. We've took guidance off Fred Potter at the boxing board, and he would be happy, I think, to give us that allowance. But it is. You're right. People when they come in and sit in there, they feel more inclined to sit there than they do maybe at the leisure centre where they can go off and wander in different places. So, I think you're right. I think most people, especially with it being a short show, will probably sit and watch all the fights. And I think that can only be good for the atmosphere,
Now, Friday the 1st, the following night, we've got a certain factor of Manny Pacquiao against Mayweather, or Mayweather against Manny Pacquiao. Been getting some predictions from the Northeast boxing community. What's your thoughts on the fight?
It's Pacquiao for me. I've put money on it. I do think that Pacquiao will win on points. I think Mayweather's been very arrogant as he normally is. I think he's come out with a lot of stuff, and his camp's come out with a lot of stuff which is quite disrespectful to Pacquiao. And I think Pacquiao's held himself together quite well. He does like being the underdog, and I think having watched some of these fights in the past with certainly the one that stands out is Mayweather against Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton rocked Mayweather, and he didn't half rock him, and I just get that feeling that if Pacquiao can do the same, Pacquiao's the kind of person that can seize the initiative in that situation. Ricky was unable to do that, couldn't take advantage of that one punch, and I think that
he wasn't helped by Cortez either.
Of course he wasn't, but I do think that ultimately I think you will see Pacquiao wear down Mayweather, and I think that if he can get inside Mayweather's head and hurt him early on, I can see no reason why he can't win that on points. But it's a great fight. It certainly is. It's been billed as the biggest fight this century, and it's well deserved. And I think a lot of people who said it's come 5 years too late, I can see where they're coming from. But I still think that both of these fighters are in peak condition, and I think we'll get a cracking fight. I certainly don't think it'll be a bore draw. I'm going with Pacquiao. I've put money on it. I do think Pacquiao will win, and I think it'll be on points.
Well, most of the predictions are going with the safe bet of Mayweather on points. We've got somebody going against the grain here in Steve Wraith.
Yeah.
And what better way to set the whole weekend up than Friday fight night at the Lancastrian Suite?
Yeah, tickets available on the door, £35, doors open at 7 o'clock.
There you go.
Thanks,
be there or be square.
Thanks, Coogan.
Hey, thank you, mate.